with my own eyes. I'm doing daily visits to see, hear, and take in the devastation, and it truly is difficult even to describe. We need all level of support, both at the local county level, the state level, and the federal level, and we need it immediately. I cannot stress enough how important that is and will continue to be in the future. Today, I wrote a letter to President-elect Trump inviting him to engage in wildfire recovery efforts and to visit the county to see the impact firsthand that it has on every socioeconomic uh, uh, individual in this county. Engaging the White House makes the way for the rapid deployment of federal resources, including emergency personnel and financial assistance. While I was on my walk through today, I crossed paths with California Assembly Speaker Rivas, and actually the entire, I think, Assembly family was up in Altadena. I told the Speaker that the state has to be incredibly flexible and streamline all of their processes, and he has promised to work with us. My goal is to help communities rebuild like for like, if not better. But there are state and county requirements that can sometimes add an additional cost to the building process. My ask is that the state and the county work to ensure that we rebuild safely, but we must remove any new costly requirements not related to health and safety that would otherwise make it cost prohibitive for residents to rebuild. Government mandates cannot mean the difference between whether a community can afford to rebuild or not. We need to be extremely responsive to the individual needs of thousands of residents who are going to have to navigate this incredibly difficult process. Our community's resilience has always been inspirational, and it will be our guiding light as we move forward together. I understand that many of our residents are looking and thinking rebuilding is not just a priority, it is an urgent need. I've talked to people who know their home is gone and they want to begin today. I will make sure that the county works quickly to eliminate unnecessary red tape, ensuring permits are approved safely and swiftly so that reconstruction can begin as soon as possible. Again, my priority is to ensure that government becomes a facilitator, not an obstacle, as we move toward recovery. I will also prioritize creating one-stop service centers where all relevant departments are available in one place in real time to answer your questions, provide guidance, and support your rebuilding efforts. This will be designed with one goal: to make the recovery process as seamless and supportive as possible, and to make sure those resources are right there in the community where you are rebuilding. We're here to help, and we will continue to be here during every part of the process. With that, I'd like to bring up Los Angeles County Fire Chief Anthony Maroney. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Barger. So good afternoon. The Eaton Fire is now estimated to be 14,117 acres with 15% containment. Over 7,000 structures are damaged or destroyed, and 2,832 firefighting personnel are assigned to the Eaton Fire. Elevated critical fire weather conditions are predicted to begin this evening and continue through Wednesday. Moderate to locally strong Santa Ana winds will affect Los Angeles County today and tomorrow, and again Monday through Wednesday. The Los Angeles County Fire Department will be prepared. These winds, combined with low humidities and low fuel moistures, will keep the fire threat in Los Angeles County high. Please understand that the inevitable public safety power shutoffs that will be implemented prior to this life life-threatening Santa Ana wind event are crucial to preventing new fire starts, and that they help save lives. Yes, they're a challenge to deal with, but it's certainly better than having another fire start. I would like to express my gratitude to the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors for their leadership and unwavering support of our residents, my fire department personnel, and me as fire chief. To our first responders battling these wildfires in the air and on the ground, we commend you for your relentless and fearless dedication in protecting residents throughout this great county. And finally, to our Los Angeles County residents, please be assured that we will continue to battle these wildfires until they are fully contained. We stand alongside all of you as we begin to plan for repopulation of evacuated areas, disaster recovery, and the rebuilding of your homes and your lives. I would now like to introduce California Interagency Incident Management Team 5, Operations Section Chief, Don Fraguglia.
All right. And thank you, Chief. Okay, so quick operational update here for the Eaton Fire. Over here, as we start on the right flank in Santa Anita Canyon, things are looking really good across the front country here until we get to about here, and then we're starting to still see quite a bit of heat, quite a bit of work through here in this area. As we come across over here into the Altadena area, I want to just highlight this square box right here is a square mile. So it's a massive, massive area that we're talking about here. That's residential community. It's not wildland. It's a residence, and these are people's houses. So huge Herculean task to get through all this down here. We have a ton of work. It's many days, many weeks of work. Just wanted to highlight that a little bit. As we come through by the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, this is looking good. Again, crews engaged, boots on the ground, mopping up. All through the National Forest up here, we continue to make really good progress up there. The weather's in our favor. We're using air tankers, we're using helicopters, all the tools in our toolbox to go get and put this fire out right where you see it right here. So that'll be our goals in the coming days. So thank you very much.
Now we're going to have Los Angeles County Sheriff Commander Tanya E. Plunkett.
Good afternoon. I'd like to take this time to update you on the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department's effort in dealing with the Eaton Canyon fire. Currently, in response to the fire, our staffing has increased to approximately 500 personnel. Within the personnel, we have active missions, which include controlling traffic points, of approximately 46 hard closures, and traffic control. We also have roving security to deal with looting and address those issues. And when necessary, respond to welfare requests and at the direction of the Los Angeles County Fire Department. As you may, as you may be aware that last night we instituted a curfew order which went into effect from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and currently, within the evacuation zones. It's important to know that these zones are going to be strictly enforced, and the reasons behind them is to enhance public security and address enhance public safety and address public security concerns. Within the curfew, we're asking everyone to stay clear of the affected zones unless they are authorized personnel or emergency responders. Anyone found in violation of the curfew order will be subject to a misdemeanor crime and subject to $1,000 fine. We understand that this is an extremely stressful and challenging time, but we appreciate the public's cooperation as we work together during the crisis. Since the Eaton Canyon fire commenced, we have a total of 19 arrests, and of those 19 arrests, 4 were for curfew violations last night. We also had a search and rescue task force that commenced this morning, and that will be until the completion. It will begin daily at 6 a.m. and end at 6 p.m. That search and rescue team, we are working jointly with our partners from Los Angeles County Fire Urban Rescue, the coroner's office, FEMA, OES, and the use of cadaver dogs to search for remains and reunite families, most importantly. These searches will be a part of a grid search, like I mentioned, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. due to safety concerns and our inability to operate during nighttime hours. Unfortunately, we report that we have 8 deaths within the Eaton Canyon fire area that was affected by the fire. And in an effort to deal with the death and the tragedies as a result of this fire, we do have, working with our partners, family assistance centers that are open to provide information to people looking for missing family members, and that location is the Pasadena Civic Center. It will be comprised of OEM, sheriff's deputies, LAPD, Red Cross, the medical examiner, and the Department of Mental Health. On scene, it's important to remember that if you have missing family members, we have 2 personnel on scene to take those missing persons report for the family members and or friends. In closing, I'd like to mention that we all know so many people have been impacted by the disaster and need help. If you are in a position to help and support the counties, we would appreciate that, and please contact Emergency Network Los Angeles by visiting www.nlaenla.org. At this time, I'd like to introduce Los Angeles County Public Health, Dr. Amish Mahajan.
Good afternoon. My name is Anish Mahajan, Chief Deputy Director of LA County Public Health. I'd like to start by thanking the first responders for their heroic efforts and extending our thoughts and prayers to all who have experienced such profound loss with these fires. We in public health are committed to supporting those in need in the months ahead. I'd also like to thank the county supervisors, especially Supervisor Barger, for their extraordinary and thoughtful support of public health and all our county and city partner departments. Yesterday, a local health emergency for LA County was declared by both Secretary Becerra at the federal level and by the county health officer, recognizing the substantial risks to public health due to the impacts of the critical fire events and windstorm conditions. The South Coast Air Quality Management has issued a smoke advisory through Saturday, January 11th at 5 p.m. This advisory will surely be extended. We are all experiencing this wildfire smoke, which is a mix of small particles, gases, and water vapors. It's those small particles that get into our noses and throats and cause those sore throats and headaches. But we must also be very careful for those who are at higher risk for bad health effects from wildfire smoke, and those include children, the elderly, those with respiratory and heart conditions, and people with immunocompromised states. They may have worse symptoms like shortness of breath, wheezing, cough, and chest pain. Everyone in the areas where there's visible smoke or the smell of smoke, and even where you don't see that, we know that the air quality is poor, so you should limit outdoor exposure as much as possible. Do not engage in outdoor physical activity. If you must be outside, wear an N95 or a P100 mask. These are high filtration masks that take out those small particles that get into your body. Keeping indoor air as clean as possible is also important. Keep your windows shut. If you have an air conditioning that can pull air from the outside, that can recirculate air, you can use that. If you have a HEPA air filter or HEPA air purifier, that will help too. All of us are at risk with the poor air quality right now, but some of us in LA County are at even greater risk. For example, if it's part of your job to work outside, it's important that you wear an N95 or a P100 mask. In these situations, you may ask your employer for an N95, and they're required to provide it to you free of charge. The LA County Department of Public Health is offering N95 masks through the interim housing sites, shelters, and street teams to LA residents who are experiencing homelessness and living outdoors. and to those persons who are evacuated from where they usually live and staying in temporary shelters. Family assistance centers will also offer respiratory masks to residents who are returning to fire zone areas as they clean up the fire damage. The County of Los Angeles and our partners are also working to distribute over 5,000 HEPA air purifiers to senior centers, nursing homes, and other facilities where individuals are at the highest risk of residing in the worst air quality. Finally, if you experience severe symptoms like coughing, shortness of breath, wheezing, chest pain, palpitations, nausea, please contact your doctor or medical provider or go to an urgent care. For life-threatening symptoms, please call 911. I want to finish by noting that we understand this is a very difficult time for those who are evacuated, and we have a lot of folks who want to get back to their homes and to their neighborhoods. But we want to ask folks not to return home until you're told that it's safe to do so. There is a lot of toxins left over after the fire. There's a lot of smoke there. And once you are going back, the key is to remain covered up. Make sure you're wearing gloves. Household dishwashing gloves are okay. Long sleeves, long pants, and you should be using an N95 mask. The LA County Department of Public Health is also offering N95 masks to LA residents who are returning to the fire zone areas as the cleanup of the fire damage begins. Those masks are also available at the county evacuation centers and other sites. I'm going to finish there and happy to answer questions. Next, I'll invite City of Pasadena Mayor Victor Gordo.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just returned from visiting the devastated areas in Pasadena and Altadena, and devastation really is the only word. I visited with the Southern California's congressional delegation, and I'd like to thank them for taking the time to see firsthand exactly what's happening in our community. While it's devastation up there, I know that our community, our people in Altadena and Pasadena, and we really are one community, is a resilient and strong community. And I'm here to tell all of you that the County of Los Angeles, Supervisor Barger, the State of California, and our congressional delegation is committed to supporting as we bounce back, and we will bounce back in Pasadena and Altadena. The resilience that we've shown in past disasters is proof of that. I'd also like to thank the first responders for all of their hard work and courage in assisting our residents. And finally, I'd like to say this: if you are thinking of coming to Pasadena and/or Altadena for the purpose of looting, know this: the Pasadena Police Department and the LA County Sheriffs will be there to meet you. If you're even thinking about it, think twice, because the Pasadena Police Department and the Pasadena and then the LA County Sheriffs will not only be there to greet you, but you will be arrested. And so I would discourage anyone from even thinking about coming and victimizing our residents. Thank you very much.
And now I'd like to introduce the CEO of Southern California Edison, Stephen D. Powell. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Steve Powell, President and CEO of Southern California Edison. As a longtime, entire life resident of Southern California, words can't describe how horrific it is to see the impact on our communities, friends, my colleagues at Edison, even through these fires. Just been terrible to see. As we look forward, I first want to say thank you to the first responders, the fire agencies that are out there protecting the community and partnering with us on keeping people safe. I want to say thank you to our crews, our contractors, as well as those that are providing mutual assistance from PG&E that are out there working 24/7 to bring power back on in our communities. As of this morning, Edison still had about 50,000 customers without power. That's down from a peak of over 500,000 just a couple of days ago, so we're making significant progress on the power restoration. We've got over 120 crews supported by other field personnel. That's thousands of people out working 24/7 to bring power back on once it's safe to do so. At the same time, there's a lot of places where we don't have access, where there's a lot of damage that could lead to really extended outages. As Chief Maroney mentioned, we're also not through all the weather issues. We see a big wind event coming in next week, and that could lead to more public safety power shutoffs. Again, as an electric utility, we never want to shut people's power off. But to protect our communities when the conditions are merit it, we need to use it as a tool of last resort, and we will be doing that. So just want to let everybody know that's been out there without power for 5 days now. We've got our crews working 24/7 to bring power back on as it's safe to do so. Thank you. Next up is State Senator Sasha
So you've been
Rennie.
listening to the update of the Eaton Canyon fire, and we are going to continue to monitor all of the representatives that continue to come up and speak. We'll also monitor the Q&A, and we'll bring you any new information from the fire that is in Altadena, Pasadena area, Sierra Madre, and the damage that is caused. They have increased the death toll to 8, which is very sad to hear, and there is a 14,000 acre fire. So here once again is our map of the area, and we kind of wanted to give you an idea, along with what the fire command was showing you a moment ago about where they're concerned. Of course, this eastern edge, they did feel, they had they projected an attitude of comfort in many spots, but they were concerned about this eastern edge. And then, so what we wanted to do is kind of zoom in and look at, with this fire weather going to be continuing. And then, of course, as you look into Monday, where they say fire conditions are going to continue to be bad. If you're looking at Highland Oaks Drive, you have Carrollwood Vista, this is still an area of a mandatory evacuation, and you might be fortunate that a lot of homes are still here, so they don't want this fire to creep down into this area, and they want to try to get as much control of this as they can in these next 24 hours before the weather and the wind pick back up. Not saying it's going to be anything like it was last week, but it is going to still be bad. You also, on this western area, again, you have homes, just so many homes in this area who likely survived this fire, and you just don't want to face the idea that you survive one catastrophe and then end up seeing another. This is Lincoln Avenue here. So all of this area is still mandatory evacuation order, as well as this is Woodbury, as an east-west thoroughfare, and then here's the 210. So again, they were talking about one of the big critical pieces of this puzzle is going to be the weather and what it will do over the next 24 to 48 hours. And so for that, when you take a look at this fire, the Eaton Fire in Altadena, Sierra Madre, Pasadena, we're going to be watching this weather once again, and the conditions are just not improving. Shayla, the only good news that we can talk about with this is it's going to be unlike what we saw at the beginning of this week.
Yes, Philip, you said it